Hello, it's Marshall Shaw, Expressivo, Celebrate the Arts in You. We're looking at StaffPad for iPad. I'm using an iPad Pro 12.9 inch with Apple Pencil 2. We're already into the app now. I'm titling it. And this is going to be a simple piece that we all know from our childhood. Mary had a little... Wait a minute. Mary had a little lamb chops? Well, that's interesting. So this piece will have something mischievous, I think. So let's choose an oboe. I find you can hear articulations quite well on the oboe. And I don't want the oboe written so low in this melody. So I'm going to change the key signature. I think that G major suits it so that it doesn't go too low into that growly register. So I'm inputting the notes. They're hatch style. And generally, if you do it this way and this quick, it works. But first, let's play around with the time signature and make it 2/4. Could you write Mary Had a Little Lamb in 2/4? Well, the answer, of course, is yes. And I'm going to write it in eighth notes. The beaming, simple. So if you use eighth notes, you may want to adjust your tempo and go with the version you like. Give it a try. I'm going to erase it and go back to 4/4. So change the time signature. And let's get started. I'm going to enter the notes. You will see the odd mistake. You will see me problem solve it as I've been trained to do with experience. So this is something I'm excited about, that I've developed a style over the 2 months since starting with StaffPad. You'll see a little artifact, a little dot sometimes, and that's where I'm touching the next bar to initiate the printout of the notes in the previous bar. But you don't need to do that. That's what happens. So you just have to continue writing, and when you touch the next bar to start, it will put the notes to their correct view. You see, there's another time it happens. So once you get out of that, I'm just so eager to make sure all the notes appear properly. But as with confidence, you won't need to do that. And my goal is to develop small motifs, short little figures that I can use melodically within this. So now that I'm finished, I'm going to hold the last bar line and change it. Scroll over, move it over, push over, so it's the final bar. And then let's go back to the very first bar and hear what we've got. Here is our oboe presentation. Very beautiful, very predictable, very straight, nothing overly different. So let's do that. Let's add some, well, the first thing I want to do is speed it up. So I'm going to add 120 beats per minute as a metronome marking, just to make it a little bit faster and more fun. I think it was earlier around 100. So let's see how that sounds. And let's do some slurring and some staccato tonguing just to give it some life. And each instrument responds differently to a staccato marking, so you may or may not like what you hear. You might want to make the notes a little shorter just by making them eighth notes with an eighth rest, if the staccato is not quite what you want. So you've got to experiment, and you'll get to be intuitive after using this app a long time. Okay, so we're ready. Let's hear it. Okay, we're getting closer to making this something different. So, here's what I want to do now. I want to change some of the notes. So I'm adding in what's typically known as passing notes. And it looks like I've got too many beats in that bar, but actually, look what I'm doing. I'm beaming 4 quarters to make them 8s, and then I'm just moving the note heads into position. And once again, on that half note, I want to change it. So we have another figure of 4 notes, in this case, 8th notes. And I want to make sure the stems are going the same direction. So sometimes you have to change the note location and then move them into position. I have found this is the quickest. Now on this high D half note, I want to make it an E flat to create a mischievous atmosphere at that point to reflect the title, Lamb Chops. Mary. Okay, so let's add a few 16th notes leading up to the E flat. And I would like to add I was thinking a tremolo on the E flat to create, again, a playful quality to this. I'm looking for flutter tongue, but I don't think that this part of the library does that. So I've added an accent, and I will change that later. But you'll hear it first. So let's continue. Again, in that repetitious 4-note B, all those Bs, we have to change something there. You could add a dynamic change, a crescendo, but let's just continue with that 4-note figure. And again, I line the stems to go the same direction by just moving them, and then draw a beam over. So we have a group, and just modifying the pitches by moving them into place. And now I want to do a little scale of 16th notes just to create a bit of motion, a little bit of direction. Again, get all the stems in the same direction, and 2 lines, 2 beams to create 16th notes. And now comes the challenge. How do I get up to the high A, in other words, to a high G with the notes remaining? And that's going to create 5 notes. So how do we do that, creating 5 16ths in the space of 4 16ths? Watch how StaffPad handles that. Draw the stems, the beams, and looky there. We have a group of 5 16ths in the space of 4 16ths for time. And that was easy compared to, I've done it for years on Finale or Notion, and it's always been a challenge. That was quick. Okay, and we're going to continue to the end. And again, I want something more of a flourish to the end, not just as written. Something that I want to make my own, which you need to do as well. Find something that expresses your thinking musically. And notice I'm having some problems with the beam. So you just keep at it until it works. It's rare, but it does happen sometimes. Okay, and again, I want to add some 16th notes. And here we go. Oh, no, not 16th notes, 8th notes. Okay, bring the low G to the high G by dragging it. And I have changed my mind. I want a ledger line. So this shows you how StaffPad handles ledger lines. Okay, a little high, so just bring it down. Staccatos. And there's our piece. Okay, now, there's that E flat. Well, it doesn't quite work with that, as we'll soon hear right now. Okay, so back to that E flat. Those tremolos, that tremolo did not work. So let's change it to the trusty trill and have it a half step trill. In other words, E flat to, not to F natural, but to E natural. Very playful. I like that little bit of humor with the E flat, and I'm changing this, and there we have it. And there's a little mistake here with articulation. I just want to fix that. So we are done with this. I'm just cleaning up a bit, and we're going to add some hairpins, basically expression volume changes with crescendo and diminuendos. Generally speaking, very simple to do. This one, because it's below the beam, it's creating a problem, so do it above the beam. Solved. This is the ease of StaffPad. And when we talk about the automation layer, which I'll show you now in a little while, it's even easier to do more minute changes in volume and expression. Now the staccatos may not be to your liking, so you could change libraries. Purchase the Berlin or CineBrass libraries. They're about $100 each. You could then try different ones. Okay, so the automation layer, this blue layer with the lines, basically you can see how they follow the crescendo and diminuendo markings, but you can go further in and modify them. That's this fabulous feature here, which is in DAWs, of course. Digital audio workstations, in this case mobile. And wow, look at that. You can go crazy and be very expressive. Just don't go too crazy within one bar with so many changes. You might find that it's just too awkward sounding. Well, very, very interesting. I like that. So, in the end, we have our first melody and showed you quite a few things. It's your turn now to try it. I hope you'll join me in the second StaffPad video tutorial, and that's where we're going to try doing two-part writing, and I'll show you a little about chord progressions and how to create that second melody below. It could be an accompaniment or a duet. So I hope you'll join me. Please subscribe, and thumbs up always helps, and give me some honest feedback below. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. So take care, get writing music, and express the beauty within yourself through music.